1,861 earthquakes. 6 exceeded a magnitude 6.0. Unusual movement, chaos, global unrest, and more. Kick back folks, and relax. This is your weekend report. Hey folks. I hope you have had an awesome week. I want to thank you for tuning in for the earthquake report. For the record, today is August the 28th, 2016. This video will speak of earthquake data spanning from August the 20th through August the 26th. It was on this day in 1973, when a 7.2 struck Veracruz, Mexico. More than 600 were killed and thousands injured. Heavy damage in the states of Morelos, Puebla, and Veracruz were experienced and thousands were left homeless. Also, rockfalls and landslides in unstable or steep slopes occurred in the Puebla-Veracruz state line area. This is what's happening. A hurricane churning in the Atlantic Ocean strengthened Sunday as a separate system threatened to dump rain on Florida, sparking fears about standing water amid a battle against Zika virus. Hurricane Gaston was around 600 miles east of Bermuda and was moving northwest at 5 miles per hour as of 11 a.m. Sunday, the National Hurricane Center said. It currently has a maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. The hurricane had previously weakened to a tropical storm before regaining strength Saturday. Forecasters expect the hurricane to slow down and swing north by Monday, and there are no warnings issued for land. Meanwhile, a storm system in the Caribbean was producing showers and storms in Cuba but could bring rain to Florida through Wednesday. This could cause standing water to collect and add a challenge to the state's efforts to combat the mosquito-borne Zika virus. Not to be left out, a tropical depression formed Sunday off the east coast and could hit the Outer Banks as a tropical storm by Tuesday. Tropical Depression 8 could develop into Tropical Storm Hermine, the National Hurricane Center said Sunday morning. A tropical storm watch may be posted later in the day. It was 405 miles southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina with winds of 35 miles per hour and moving west at 9 miles per hour. Drenching showers, thunderstorms and rough surf will threaten the Carolina coast this week, AccuWeather meteorologist Ed Valley said. This is rather unusual. Get this. A teen died from a hickey that formed a blood clot that traveled to his brain which caused a stroke. Julio Moses Gonzalez started having convulsions at the dinner table with his family in Mexico City after spending an evening with his girlfriend. Paramedics were dispatched to the scene but the 17-year-old could not be saved. It is thought that the suction of the love bite, also known as a hickey, caused a blood clot that traveled to Julio's brain and caused him to have a stroke. His 24-year-old girlfriend has now disappeared and the boy's parents are apparently now blaming her for his death. Wow. Finally, the Smithsonian acquired a rare photograph where whole family looks really nice. Washington. Calling the image an important addition to their collection, officials from the Smithsonian National Museum of American History announced Friday they have acquired a rare photograph where the whole Barlow family looks very nice. The Smithsonian is proud to celebrate this exceptional and iconic 2014 vacation snapshot of the Barlow family in which Matthew, Karen, Joanna, and Bradley all have genuine smiles and no one is squinting or blinking, said head researcher Rodney Agee, adding that for the first time in American history, the extraordinary photograph perfectly captured the Barlows appearing well-groomed and happy to be in each other's company. This magnificent informal group portrait is a national treasure, as all members of the Barlow family are dressed in nice, clean outfits free of wrinkles and stains, evenly lit, and looking in the right direction. At press time, A Smithsonian spokesperson told reporters the photo was the only known image of Bradley on his best behavior and not messing around. You can view these articles and more at our Facebook page. Feel free to zoom over them when you have a moment. You can find the link in the description. Alright. Earthquake report time. Here we go. As mentioned, we finished last week off with 1,861 earthquakes. This, along with today's and yesterday's quakes, brings our monthly total to 8,011. For historical reference, a year ago today, we clocked in 249 earthquakes. The strongest to strike the planet then was a 5.4 that struck Iwo Jima, Japan. What an unfortunate week it has been. Numerous powerful earthquakes have rattled the planet and resulted in the loss of life, caused destruction, and affected thousands. As previously stated, we registered 6 earthquakes that fell within or exceeded the magnitude 6 category. This includes a 6.8 that struck Burma on Wednesday, August the 24th. This powerful earthquake, with a preliminary magnitude of 6.8, damaged nearly 170 ancient Buddhist pagodas in the tourist city of Bugan, and reportedly killed at least 3 people. The quake was centered about 15 miles west of Chalk, an area west of the ancient capital of Bugan, the U.S. Geological Survey reported. The epicenter was located fairly far below the Earth's surface at a depth of about 52 miles, it said. Deep earthquakes generally cause less surface damage. At least 94 brick pagodas in Bugan were damaged, the Ministry of Religious and Cultural Affairs said in a statement. Bugan, also known as Pagan, has more than 2,200 structures including pagodas and temples constructed from the 10th to the 14th centuries. Many are in disrepair while others have been restored in recent years, aided by the UN cultural agency UNESCO. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those affected in this region. We experienced a 6.4 that hit the South Georgia Island region on Sunday, August the 21st. Fortunately, this did not generate a tsunami. We follow that up with the devastating 6.2 earthquake that struck Norcia, Italy on Wednesday. The Civil Protection Agency, which combines the figures it receives from different provinces affected by the quake, said the number of those killed hovers near 291 and it is estimated that nearly 400 people have been injured as the earthquake flattened 3 medieval towns near the rugged Apennines. This is truly an awful situation. Not to be left out, we witnessed a 6.0 strike Indonesia on August the 23rd, and 2 back-to-back shallow magnitude 6.0 earthquakes that rocked just off the coast Mako, Japan on Saturday, August the 20th. In total, we experienced 33 magnitude 5+ earthquakes strike the globe this past week. As you would expect, these earthquakes were centered mostly along the Ring of Fire, with the exception of a 5.5 that struck Norcia, Italy on August the 24th. This, along with hundreds of aftershocks, continue to plague the region to this day. South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands have been hammered with earthquakes this past week. In total, this area has registered 12. They had an average magnitude of a 5.3. Within the Ring of Fire, the most notable being a series of quakes that struck Japan. This includes a 5.9, a 5.6, and a series of 5.3s that rattled Mako. We registered 74 magnitude 4 earthquakes. Seismic swarms were limited to the usual locations like Indonesia, Japan, Alaska, and Chile. The remaining earthquakes struck, for the most part, locations here in the States. We'll start with Hawaii, which registered 74. This was a 51% increase over the previous week's seismic activity. All of which were minor with the exception of a 3.7 and a 3.4 that struck the volcano, and a 3.1 that struck Honolulu, Napupu. Swarm activity was exclusively centered around the volcano, which clocked in a staggering 43 earthquakes. Alaska registered 361 earthquakes. The strongest to strike was a 4.7 that hit Boulder Island, a 4.6 at the Kiska volcano, a 4.3 that shook Little Sitkin Island, and a 4.1 that was registered in Atka. Washington registered 40. The most intense being a 2.2 that hit Packwood. The average magnitude for all earthquakes to strike Washington was only a 1.0. Oregon's earthquake activity, once again, remained largely unchanged when compared to the previous week's data. We experienced 13 quakes. The strongest registered was only a 2.8 that struck Baker City. California continues to experience unrest. In total, the sunny state clocked in 864 earthquakes last week. The most powerful experienced was a 3.5 in Mammoth Lakes on Sunday the 21st. Additional notable earthquakes registered were a 3.1 that hit Calipatria on Sunday as well, and a 3.0 that hit Little Lake on Saturday. Last week, we experienced a 27% increase in earthquake activity in this area. This equates to roughly 168 earthquakes. This is very interesting indeed. With the increase in seismic activity along the coast, it makes one wonder exactly what is stimulating the unrest and what will happen next. Keep your eyes open, people. Nevada registered 183 earthquakes last week. The strongest experienced was only a 2.1 that hit Warm Springs. Swarm activity was limited to the usual locations. Idaho registered 3 all week. The most intense to strike was a 1.8 in Mallard City. Montana experienced only 15. The most intense registered was only a 1.9 in North Browning. Wyoming clocked in 10. The strongest registered was a 1.8 that hit Hoback. Utah raked in 23. The strongest reported was a 2.8 in Hilldale. Not be left out, was a 2.1 in Moab. Colorado experienced 6. Nearly all being quite unusual. This includes a 3.9 that struck Trinidad, a 2.9 in Pueblo, 2.6s that hit Greeley, and a 2.0 and a 1.5 in Eaton. According to the USGS, only one person in southern Colorado and northern New Mexico reported feeling Tuesday morning's 3.9 magnitude earthquake. This is based upon the reports made via to the U.S. Geological Survey website. Interesting. John Bellini, a USGS geophysicist out of Golden, stated, "That's not surprising because it occurred in a rural area. It's really sparsely populated out there," he said. Along the Colorado, New Mexico border near Trinidad, earthquakes most often occur at magnitudes of 2.5 to 4, Bellini said. I think you will find it interesting to know that what the USGS failed to mention was, there are an abundance of fracking wells in the area. Oklahoma clocked in 11. The strongest experienced being a 3.4 that struck Yale and a 3.2 in Moreland. Kansas experienced 16. This was roughly an 87% increase in earthquake activity when compared to the previous week. The strongest being a 2.9 in Antony and 2.8 in Caldwell. The New Madrid seismic fault experienced movement as well. This includes 3 earthquakes that struck Lilburn, Missouri. This being a 1.8 and 2 1.6s that occurred on Monday the 22nd. Not to be left out, Tennessee clocked in 2 1.3s in Tiptonville on August the 22nd and 23rd. The North American Craton also experienced movement. This includes a 2.1 in Collegedale, Tennessee, a 1.4 in Oswego, New York, and a 1.3 in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. Our Canadian neighbors experienced seismic movement as well. 16 earthquakes in total. the most notable being a 4.5 in Clyde River and a 4.1 in Faro. Before wrapping up, I would like to take a moment and throw a shout out to subscriber, Mogzupal. Thanks for the conversation, your insight, and the kind words. You are good people. And that's it for the earthquake report. If you experienced an earthquake today, or if you would simply like to chat, please post down below. I would like to hear from you. Seriously, post about anything that is on your mind. Make certain to like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, if you like the social media thing, you can link to us via the standard allotted social sites in the description. We'll end this report with a video from our favorite star.